We know that you were born magical. We know that you are intuitive, and we know that you are brimming with everyday enchantment. Here at the Sisters Enchanted, we believe in intention, we believe in intuition, and we believe in everyday magic. Welcome in to the Expedition to Soul podcast. Welcome to this episode of the Expedition to Soul podcast. I tripped on that. We just changed the name of it. And I almost said Magic on the Inside, which is our former podcast name. So welcome to the Expedition to Soul podcast. I'm Sarah, founder of the Sisters Enchanted. And I am joined today by one of our community members, Naomie Harris. I am very excited to be bringing back our community member episodes. This is how we started the podcast. And this is what we're bringing back in this time around. So hello, Naomie. It's great to meet you on camera like this.
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing well. So I didn't even ask you before we started. You said you live in the middle of nowhere. Whereabouts? You can give us just like a state if you want, but whereabouts are you and what do you do? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I live in the western slope of the Sierra Nevadas in California. So kind of between like Georgetown and Tahoe in that area. So it really is the middle of nowhere. We're on 30 acres. You know, we're really excited that we have internet now because that made a lot of things really difficult. I work at the local library. It's a little tiny library, helping people get the things they need in rural locations. There's a lot of socioeconomic issues. And so kind of helping people get what they need so they can thrive. My husband and I have been here for, 35 years or something like that. And well, I've been here 35 years. He's been here with me for 26 and raised our girls who both actually this fall moved to Colorado.
Oh,
so wow. Empty nesting.
With 30 acres to empty nest on.
Yes, it's very quiet here.
Oh my goodness. It sounds like a dream. And also like you're doing important work, given that rural life and helping people out with tools that they need.
It's led me on my path to find a different way to help people.
Yeah. Yeah. I live in Connecticut, but we have a house we co-own with my brother and sister-in-law in Vermont, it sounds pretty sit's kind of in the middle of nowhere. There's no internet, no cell service, and the library is the size of a matchbox. But it's similar where it's a pretty low income area because there's not a lot of resources around, and there's just not even really connection to get the kinds of things you might need to get if you wanted to get out of the small town, because there's just not resources. So I totally can visualize that for you. All right. So knowing that, and you just mentioned helping people in other ways, why don't you tell me a little bit about what brought you here to the Sisters Enchanted, and what do you mean by helping people in different ways?
So I have had a long journey with my magic, and there were times where it was fine for me to explore, and there were times where it caused a lot of friction in my life. So I kind of set it to the side until it was okay again. But I always felt kind of that need to be helping people, but in helping people in a not healthy way, it can really drain all of your resources within yourself. And so I found that I was at the end. I was standing on the cliff, just nothing left at all. And started kind of looking again at what kind of things I could use to help find my way through this, because I was just really, really struggling. And I started looking at my tarot cards again. And it had been a really long time. And my tarot deck was so old, like I didn't have a booklet anymore. So I was kind of like looking up things on the internet, and I found your tarot journaling kit.
Yeah.
And then I did the Expedition to Soul. And I was just like, I need to just find my way back here. I need to find that sense again. I had, done yoga and things, and they all kind of give you that little glimmer of like, okay, there's possibility to get back to this like good balance within yourself, but I really couldn't make that connection. And then I was doing the meditation, the visualization, where you kind of meet different versions of yourself.
Uh-huh.
And I saw versions of myself, and I saw versions of my future self that I had seen in other parts of my life, and really just kind of had that super aha moment. I sat up and went, I am doing this all wrong. I'm approaching all the things about how I'd like to help people, how I'd like to help myself all wrong. So kind of did a reset, did a restart, and then started just really focusing on finding my magic every day.
Yeah. I love that. I love what you said about kind of coming back and knowing there was something, but not being quite sure what that thing is. And that's what we love about Expedition to Soul, which is this free class that we teach, because we don't want to tell you so many things are like, learn this thing and your life's gonna whatever.
Right.
Like we want you to figure out what that looks like for you.
Yes.
Because that's the
and
most.
That really I had that reflection of myself and went, this is where I'm supposed to be. And I'm feeling this way because I'm not heading there.
So living in a small rural area, how is it that you're kind of putting all of this into practice? Like how does this look in your everyday life right now? How are you reaching out to people? Just what does this look like for you? Because so many people, or what steps do you plan to take if you're working that out still? Because so many people come to us who live maybe like in the Bible Belt of the US, or again, like in a really rural area, and they just feel like they're alone, and maybe the small group of friends or family that they have just is like, looking at them sideways,
Right.
And don't really know what to do, or that really just holds them back from experiencing something that might be just what they need. So how are you kind of getting past that?
Well, I kind of mentioned I had very negative interactions within my family at one point when I was raising my girls, and they kind of were pointing the finger at them and involving them in that conversation and kind of saying, you and your mom are going to, Hades if your mom doesn't knock it off, kind of thing. And so I just kind of had to set it aside. And what I'm finding is that as I talk about things, as I kind of share maybe what I did this weekend, there'll be a little spark in someone who is on the same vibration as me. And so then I kind of feel that, it's safe to have a little bit of a conversation here. And so I'm just I'm really careful. I'm really, really careful. It is not something that I would really be able to embrace outwardly here without a lot of repercussions. And because of my job, I'm afraid it could lead to really having a struggle if people who are offended by it were to know. So it's kind of a quandary for me. So we've kind of made the decision, especially with our children moving, that we're going to kind of take the show on the road this summer and kind of spread our wings and see new places, so that I have more the ability to be myself.
I love that. And thank you for sharing that, because I think that so often people who have that same struggle see like myself or the other people here at Sisters Enchanted online and are like, oh, well, it just must be so easy. We have family members who very much think like, you are baptized Lutheran and this is not, what are you doing? Like won't even acknowledge what I do for work. Right. And like they still see my husband and I and are like, so how was work, Kevin? He's like, I don't know. I don't have a job. Like I haven't worked in years. So, but it's just like that, So I think we all have, for the most part, somebody in our experience, whether it's just a coworker or a family member, or somebody who's like, always going to say something that's, they're just not understanding and not really wanting to understand. So I love that you understand that and don't feel the need to like go blazing into battle. You just see it for what it
Right.
is.
Well, and I guess I just I don't need to fight about it with anybody. I am who I am, take it or leave it. But in the same way, I don't want you be you. You be you right over there. You enjoy it. I love that you're you. But you don't have to bring it and try to convert me to you. So I'm going to do you the favor and do the same. And we'll just be in our own space, feeling good about each other. And that's my hope.
Yeah, it's beautiful. All right, this seems like the perfect time for a break. So we're going to take a little break and we're going to be right back. Think about what life would look like if you had the foundation to do the shadow work, understand where you're holding yourself back, and the confidence to bring some everyday magic elements into your life, follow your intuition, and know exactly the steps forward for you. Well, that's what we teach you and more in our Holistic Witchery program. Be sure to get on the wait list for Holistic Witchery. It's the one class we think everybody should take here at the Sisters Enchanted. It has changed so many lives and is at the core of all of our fundamental beliefs about who we are and how we propel ourselves forward in a way that makes great change for ourselves and those around us. Check out holisticwitchery.com, get on the wait list, and we can't wait to welcome you into class just as soon as enrollment opens. All right, Naomie, let's keep digging into you a little bit here. So I was looking at, we'll call it your Sisters Enchanted rap sheet before we got on here. And it looks like, you've got all the things in the fire. So tell me, what is your go-to magic thing? Like, what is it, or what are you most excited about? There's two questions here, I guess. So what's your current like go-to magic thing? And then what are you the most excited to keep learning about?
So my go-to is tarot. I've learned to stop asking questions of it and letting it tell me answers I already know. And so that I will just randomly be like, let's just see where we're at today. And so that is always, I have them in my car. I have them in my purse. I'll close my door at work and be like, oh, this meeting, where am I at? And so I love my cards. They're my favorite. And unlike a lot of people, I don't have a whole lot. I have like one set. I have a couple extras, but I have one set that I always use. So I have like 5 copies of that set.
I love that. I get that, because I think that you get so many and then it feels like overwhelming which one to use. And then if you spent like a lot of money on them, and then the like guilt that you spent money on something you're not using. So I totally love that strategy.
Well, and I know I probably am offending some people, but I like spent a lot on that dark mansion. It does not speak to me. It just sits there on the thing, doesn't do anything because it just doesn't speak to me. And I'm really big on those visual presentations, feeling my vibe that way. So I have my favorite and I stick to it. But right now I'm in the middle of Expedition Astrology, and it's lunar node week.
Yeah.
And I am learning so much about myself, about where I've been. That confirmation that I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to have done all those things. I'm supposed to have struggled. I'm supposed to have been lost, because that's how I'm going to get to where I'm supposed to be. Mm-hmm. I'm going to follow that purpose until I'm at my highest self. So it really has reinforced that. I wish I would have had readings when my kids were little. Just the bits and pieces that I've already picked up. I'm like, oh, I so would not have even soapboxed on that if my husband and I mean, wow, that would have been a much easier journey if I had only known that. No.
Astrology is like, so the way that we kind of run our programs here is we actually don't like really encourage people just to sign up for astrology. And the reason for that is because we think that all the things we teach in holistic witchery are like, it's kind of the self, you've got to be able to see the shadow in yourself to really not see your astrology chart or connections with other people and just look for the like reason why someone is, or like an, you know, like an explanation. You got to be able to really understand holistically, like, how, what do I do with this now? How do I use it? So that's why we do our programs the way we do, where we often encourage people to take holistic witchery. And then like astrology is, if you think holistic witchery is like the inside of a wedding cake, and astrology is that whole fancy cake that I can't even comprehend how people like build to make it look that way. You don't want to cut into it.
Tears and the fountains and the whole thing.
Yeah. It's like, you're like, how did you do that? Are those edible flowers? I don't even know. But that's astrology, and what you can learn from astrology. It's firstly, it's never ending, because you can always look at the current transit and apply it to it in a new way to, you know, your birth chart, your blueprint. But it really is life-changing, astrology.
It really is. And I just had no idea that, you know, your style of communication, your behavior, it's all in there. Yeah. And if I understand where you're coming from and you can understand where I'm coming from, then our conversations are going to be rich and full of fire and depth. And if we don't understand where we're coming from, well, then we're not going to communicate very well. And there's going to be lots of friction. So, yeah. I'm in the middle. I'm still waiting to see how I did on my first assessment, but I'm really hopeful. They said, just submit it, just let us see it. But yeah. I think that I needed to do, for me, because I love divination. I'm definitely, like right now we're doing the Cosmic Witch unit. So yeah. I am like, that's me. That's me. I love my pendulum. I love my tarot cards. I love astrology. I'm a cosmic witch. But I needed to go through holistic witchery to have all that baseline, I think, to help me understand what we were talking about in astrology. And I think if I had done it backwards, I don't know that I would be getting as much out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And we really believe that, because we see so many people who just get like a birth chart reading or something, you know, and they walk away like, oh, here's the problems I need to fix with myself. And we're like, no, that's not, it's lessons. It's building on who you are, you know, possibility of who you could be and what is there to learn from your past self. And maybe some of that still needs to be worked through. But which is why we offer our astrology program, as I said before, the way that we do, often in conjunction with holistic witchery, like do this, then do this, and just keep adding on the layers. But astrology is so fascinating. And so, you know, because you're in the program. So it's the one thing I don't teach here because it's just, I'm not an expert at it. So I don't even try to get in there. But Sarah and Nick and Anna, the other Sarah Milne, Anna and Nick, their passion for it is just so great. And I love that they have 3 kind of different ways of conquering the material. So
totally
you can
different perspectives, but it gives you that holistic kind of view of it all. So
yeah. And it like really that whole idea that we don't want to tell you, you know, what I said before about Expedition to Soul, we don't want to be the ones to say, this is how you have to do it. Like, this is how it's going to work, or, you know, you're going to do this and you're going to have this exact thing at the end. Because it still is your relationship to the stories and what you know to be true and how you feel the elements of fire and the element of air and water and earth, you know, and how that impacts your interpretation of a birth chart, even, you know.
Right. Well, and just understanding when you're, I mean, I think you learn that through all the programs that just because you're out of balance in something doesn't mean you're going to remain that way. It means you have to infuse your magic in another way, in another element. And I think your birth chart is that, you know, shows you those same infusions that are needed. I think your chakras show you those same infusions that are needed. And so that's something that I take every day. You know, if I'm feeling a little overthinking, because I have a lot of air in my chart, I will just run that water, put some oils in there that'll help me, you know, feel a little more watery, more in touch with my emotions, more connected in that way. And that learning, I mean, that's something I do every day. my husband will be like, why are you running the faucet?
Like, I just need to hear it.
I just need to hear it right now.
Don't ask questions. That's actually what I was going to ask you next. So you mentioned tarot and now this like water kind of magical therapy for yourself. What are some of the ways that you bring everyday magic into your life? So often people, they buy all these books or see like Instagram feeds and think, I don't know, you have to have some special skills or like all these things or like must be beautiful. But those of us who are living the magic like life, I feel like we're also just going to work and we're going to the grocery store and trying to get it all in. So how do you squeeze that bit of magic into your everyday life?
Well, it's funny because when you say that, you see those Instagram pictures of like this perfect, beautiful ritual and this like flowing kimono. What I look like is I look a little bit like a sumo wrestler. I've got like a robe on. I've got my hair up in a bun. I probably got my glasses on because I haven't even done my contacts yet. And I'm just making it happen. I'm doing my coffee. I'm running my incense while I'm getting ready in the morning so I can just kind of clear my space. Like I said, I'll pull a card real quick before I do something. I definitely reconnect with my intention throughout the day. Like I said, I live in the middle of nowhere, so I can see the moon. My husband goes to work really early in the morning, so I get an opportunity to stand out in the sky every morning. 2 minutes. I've got a dog like on a leash at the same time. It's not like I'm not like having this beautiful moment. I really am looking a little scary. I got a dog running around. She might be peeing on the lawn at the same time. And I'm just giving myself that moment to be magical.
Yeah. I love that. So true.
And I like the most random candles. If I see something on sale, I'm just grabbing it up. So I don't have like pretty ones that match here and there. I splurge every once in a while, and buy something that's a little more fun. But generally it's just whatever's already there.
Yeah. Me too. If there's ever photos of me or Anna or anybody here where there's like, I don't know if there is a photo with a kimono involved, but should there be in the future, it's definitely staged that way. There's like been somebody throwing my kimono to the wind and I'm trying really hard not to laugh.
If there's like beautiful smoke blowing near me, it's probably because I started my paper on fire and didn't mean to. I was trying to like slowly smoke it in a bowl and something happened and the wind came up and there you go. So now I've got a fire.
No. Yeah, for sure. I love that. I love that. Just taking the moment of connection, wherever it is, just take it and go with it. All right. So we got 2 more things on deck before I let you go. The first, we're going to play our game of this or that. So I'm going to give you some choices and you're going to tell me which one you prefer, just so we get to know you a little bit better. And then we'll wrap up with any just words of wisdom or advice you have for anybody who might be feeling kind of like you were a while back, a little just like stuck, not really sure what to do. And we'll go from there. All right. So first, this or that. And I hope that these are all relevant to you living on the other side of the country. But as I look at them, I think they all are. All right. Sometimes we live in our own bubbles, and I forget that like, people that aren't on the East Coast in Connecticut might not do this, but I think these are all good. All right. The first one is a food one. Pizza or tacos?
Tacos.
See, I think that is kind of a Connecticut thing because we have the whole New York pizza thing going on. So pizza, that's a pretty serious commitment here. Pizza versus tacos. But I like tacos too. All right. Winter or summer?
Winter.
Mm-hmm. Unexpected. Do you prefer, you love the snow? Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
I think we have like an estimated foot of snow coming in the next 2 days. And I am not pumped about it. All right. Do you prefer to read books or listen to Audible books?
Read.
I
work in a library. It's kind
true.
of required. Yeah.
For sure. Okay. So this one's a 3-parter. Do you most resonate with your sun sign, your rising sign, or your moon sign?
My rising sign.
Your rising sign. Oh, interesting. Yeah. All right. Are you a person who holds on to things or do you just toss things without thinking twice about it? A keeper or a tosser?
Keeper.
A keeper.
I'm working on being a tosser, but
so many of us are keepers. All right. Are you a morning person or a night person?
Morning.
So mornings, winter, tacos, books, rising sign, a keeper. Got a couple more. Pens or pencils?
Pens.
Hmm.
Very specific pens. But
Yeah.
yeah, pens.
See, that could have gone either way working in a library, I feel like. Really could have gone either way. I think I know the answer to this one. Tarot cards or oracle cards?
Tarot.
Tarot cards. Let's see here. This one. Are you a person who likes incense or you don't like incense?
Love incense.
You love incense?
Oh, yes. All the time.
All right. Your last one. Are you a woods forest person or a water person? Like the ocean, lakes?
I am a water person.
Yeah, it makes sense given what you said before.
Yep.
All right. So water, winter, incense. We know exactly what your dream witchy cottage in your mind looks like.
Absolutely.
Full of tacos. I'd hang out with you there. Okay. So the last thing we're going to leave with, what words of wisdom or like one piece of advice do you have for people listening who might just be feeling kind of like witchy, magically curious, or really stuck, or maybe they've done all these things and they're still just feeling like bleh. What words of advice or wisdom do you have for those people?
Keep trying something new every day. At some point, something is going to click and you're going to get that feeling that you're looking for. So you've just got to keep trying. The only way not to feel better is to stop trying. So I think once you find that thing that connects you to your magic, you can keep using it. And if it fades and it wanes, try something new.
I love that. Just keep trying. One foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much, Naomie, for being here. And Naomie is in all of our programs and currently active in Expedition Astrology. So if you're in there, be sure to say hello to her. Let her know you heard her here on the podcast. And yeah, well, thank you again for hanging out. I really appreciate it. It was great getting to know you. Yeah. All right. Well, Naomie, I will see you around the internet.
Bye-bye.
Bye.